Hey everyone, let's talk about Agile Business Analyst mindset. What exactly is it? We talk about BA mindset and we talk about being agile. How do those things combine? I'm Yulia Kosarenko, author of the book Business Analyst, A Profession and a Mindset. And to me, talking about BA mindset is very important. So we'll talk about what it is. We'll talk about how to understand agility. How does it truly applies to business analysis and to what business analysts do? And what are those principles of BA mindset when we apply them in an agile context? So what is mindset? Mindset is a way of thinking. It's the attitude. It's how you solve problems. How do you approach challenges? What are your beliefs and ideas? How do you handle pressure? And how do you handle situations where things do not seem to be what they think they are? Are you able to adapt and change? In terms of business analysis, BA mindset can be summarized as some principles, and here is one of the ways to summarize it that I used in my own book. I'll provide the link to download this BA mindset poster for you as well in the comments. So BA mindset is about focusing on business goals. It's about trying to understand what is a true problem you want to resolve. It's about questioning things. It's about taking on leadership and facilitation role. It's about analyzing before you synthesize those requirements, so truly taking responsibilities for understanding the business needs, the gaps, for simplifying business processes, and for creating a shared understanding of requirements. It's also about embracing change, being an active part of the solution, including solution design, development, testing, so the whole solution life cycle, and knowing how to deal with human beings, and of course, being able to adapt as things change. So if you listen to that, there's a lot of overlap with how do we understand agility. What is agility anyway? According to just a general dictionary definition, agility is ability to move quickly and easily. So it's about moving, it's about not standing still. Business agility is about the capability of businesses, of organizations to rapidly respond to change and adapt, to maintain stability, to remain viable, and to continue growing. In software development, of course, we also always think about the Agile Manifesto that came to be when a group of individuals tried to define better principles of developing software and under the constant change, under the conditions of constant change. So they chose the word agile because it represents ability to adapt and respond to changes, which became more and more critical in development of the software as businesses themselves develop and technologies develop and competitors move ahead. And the customers change as well, and their needs and their problems sometimes change more rapidly than we are able to develop the software. However, when we talk about business analysis, agility, and agile BA mindset, it's not just about software development. It's also about the business. So don't focus just on software delivery, just on delivering projects. Let's look a little bit more broadly on business agility. So business agility includes several layers, and it really addresses multiple competencies of organization. Of course, it is about delivering fast and delivering products responsibly and adapting during the product development life cycle, which what we can call delivery agility. It's also about being able to respond to changes in the market, a competitive environment. So it's about ability to innovate and disrupt or respond to disruption. It's about product innovation and being agile when developing products. It's also about organizational adaptability. So adapting of organization and its structure and its culture to change and what is happening around us. And leadership agility. So the leadership of organizations should not be the most stable and rigid part of it. The leaders need also to be agile and adapting and changing. So really business agility is about all of these layers, and the delivery of the project, the delivery of initiatives, the execution of initiatives is more of a result that demonstrates all of the other agility capabilities. When we go back to the BA mindset and its principles, right in there, principle number 9 says accept and embrace business change. So it speaks directly to ability to adapt to what is changing in the environment, adapt how your customers' needs are changing, adapt to how organization and its goals are changing, and being able to direct the team and help redefine requirements so that they remain actual and they remain up to date and really adequate to fulfill business needs. So Agile business analyst, and who is an Agile BA? Is it just a Scrum team member? Because sometimes we just call Scrum team members. There's no more titles. Everyone is pitching in and doing what they need. Is that what business analyst is? Is it a product owner substitute, or is it a product owner? Is business analyst in Agile just a user story writer? Who are they anyway? Let's look at Agile business analyst as a professional that practices business analysis in Agile context. And it practices business analysis in organizations that have adopted Agile practices. Now what we can do is let's take a look at BABOK Agile extension and its principles and core values of Agile expressed there, and let's try and translate them into what they mean. And all the time we're doing it, we will also be seeing the parallels with the BA mindset principles. So here are the principles of Agile business analysis as they're set up in BABOK. See the whole, think like a customer, analyze and determine what is valuable, get real using examples, understand what is doable, simulate collaboration and continuous improvement, and avoid waste. And the core values of customer focus, respect, courage, continuous learning, collaboration, and value maximization. And just like by looking at that, I think we can see how relatable they are to the 12 BA mindset principles as well. So really what I want to say is that the core values of a business analyst, of a truly excellent business analyst that cares about business, cares about solving true real business problems, cares about helping build a successful solution that will be adopted and will be used, those core values are the same. And so the agility is not just about Scrum, the agility is about being able to adapt and deliver successful solutions under constantly changing environment. And if you look at the 12 principles on one side and 7 principles on the other side, and as we now speak through each one of them, we will see that the core of how you do a good job as a business analyst remains the same. So let's take this one. See the whole and think like a customer. What exactly does it mean? How we can do it as business analysts? We need to think like a customer to solve the right problem. So we have to address the true challenge, the real need of the business, because that means we care about customer needs, and then the final solution will actually help to solve it. It will be something that customer truly required. We think like a customer to understand business value, and that's what we also will use for prioritization. For example, one of the Agile delivery principles is about delivering in increments, and the definition of what should be delivered first, what should be part of minimum viable product, is based on business value. To truly understand business value, we have to think like a customer. So we have to focus on business goals, and we have to solve the right problem. We need to capture a meaningful purpose of each user story. So when we write the user story as a customer, I want to get this so that I have that. So that statement has to truly be focused on business value, on something meaningful to the business, and then you can truly assess the value of your user story. Asking questions is an important part of the BA mindset. And when you're in doubt, asking questions different ways, asking different people, comparing the answers so that you can better understand the problem. So asking questions until you understand the why and the business value is part of that. And thinking big but delivering iteratively, right? So The Agile delivery focuses on useful increments, on small doable increments that eventually still need to bring you to that full solution that is what customer wanted. So we still need to think big, we still need to see the big picture, we still need to do business modeling and apply those techniques that allow us to keep big picture in mind, right? So we do want to start with big picture, and we do want to have that big picture always in front of us as a roadmap, as a guideline. So in Agile environment, for example, to do that, you can use a user story map. So user story mapping as an exercise helps you to draw that user journey, to look at the backbone, at all the main steps in the customer journey, for example, and then keep breaking it down into smaller increments, and then defining what needs to be delivered in the first iteration, second, and so on. However, you still can see how each of those smaller increments contributes to the big picture, and you still see what the big picture is. So that is truly important. If you're interested, I'll provide some links to downloadable user story map templates. Let's continue. The next principle is analyze to determine what is valuable. And the key word here is analyze. Analysis is part of our job regardless of the methodology. So we still have to analyze business requirements, whether we are listening to what business stakeholders say and analyze that, or whether it's the product owner that provides requirements. We still need to analyze and understand and distill the most important and the most essential requirements. So analysis is important. We don't just write user stories, we analyze business needs first. And I always say that requirements don't come from business. Requirements come from business analysis. So in Agile context, we can replace this with user stories. Don't come from product owner. User stories come from business analysis. So product owner's role is very important, and sometimes even business analyst plays this role, but still requirements need information from multiple sources, from different stakeholders, from different groups of people, from operations, from finance, from accounting, from sales, from marketing, to make sure that your solution is viable and is actually going to fit into the whole organizational landscape. So we do want to apply business analysis techniques, and those will help us to truly analyze information and extract and identify business requirements, whether these requirement statements to document them or user stories. If you're interested more in business analysis techniques, use this video on my YouTube channel, or check out the course. I will provide the link in the comments as well. Next principle, get real using examples. So think about that BA mindset principle that analysts are responsible for creating shared understanding of requirements. So if you document something, if you capture things, make sure that everybody has the same understanding. And examples and demonstration and prototypes are all various ways of creating those examples. So think about your different audiences that think differently, just like those little people on this diagram. Someone wants to look at the data, someone wants to see the visuals, others want to discuss things together and walk through and role play. Someone wants to just read the description and have their own understanding. So your different team members will have different ways of understanding requirements. You need to cater to all of them. And one of those really powerful ways of catering to that is creating visuals. Could be prototypes, could be mock-ups, could be storyboards, could be even role playing. You have, as an analyst, you have to have that gut feel reinforced by your experience that helps you figure out the best ways of communicating with different stakeholders, using examples, visualizing, demonstrating, and helping them to see what is the expected result is truly important, especially in fast-paced environment and in those projects that are run using Agile methodologies where you want to deliver, even if it's small increments, but you want to deliver those frequently. So that visualization is really important. So whether you work under Agile methodology or Kanban or Waterfall or hybrid, this is still one of your main deliverables as a business analyst, creating a shared understanding of requirements. Next principle, understand what is doable. So feasibility of change, the realistic requirements that are actually possible to deliver, that is a part of making projects successful. And business analysts, even though they're not necessarily solution designers, they still have to be in touch with a technical group. They need to be in touch with the architect, with solution architect, to understand or to discover what is doable, translate that information to business stakeholders. So the whole cycle of planning, analyzing, building, testing, and deploying needs to be based on that. And just to reinforce that this cycle of solution delivery doesn't just include technology changes, it also includes non-technical changes. So non-technical changes could be anything to do with business process change, with training, with physical things, with location, with logistics, those transition requirements, change management requirements. So both technical and non-technical changes have to be together. So the planning of what is doable and the planning of that solution cycle needs to take into consideration all those parts. Because if you just focus on technical changes, on system changes, on application requirements, and forget non-technical, we actually may not be delivering the whole thing, because the application changes may not be really adopted without non-technical changes that supports them. So as an analyst, you have to be part of the whole solution cycle, not just of requirements definition, but of helping to promote non-technical changes, change management requirements, and sometimes actually helping to implement them. You also improve as a team. So understanding of what is doable may be based, if you think about estimating how much can be done, for example, how much can be done in the sprint. Of course, that's the job of a whole team, but you as a business analyst, as you improve and as a team improve, you get a better idea of what is doable, and that definitely is helping with grooming your user stories. Remember non-technical changes. Remember that you are not working separately from technical team, from architecture team. You collaborate with them all the time, because that actually reinforces the viability of the solution. It makes it more possible. Okay, and again, in the agility means that as requirements change, as technical landscape changes, as maybe some system specifications are changing, all of that needs to be taken into consideration to develop the solution. And as a business analyst, you should be part of that. Next one is stimulate collaboration and continuous improvement. Okay, so that goes back to that role of facilitator and the role of the leader, and that person who takes on responsibility for shared understanding of requirements. So as a business analyst, you're going to have to wear many different hats as a leader and facilitator in your team, as a change agent, leader, mediator, devil's advocate, and so on, because that communication is still the foundation of building any solution. So as a business analyst, you manage relationships. Even with the best methodology, even with the most structured system of execution, relationships still matter. Human beings will still remain human beings, and so this factor will always be important. We need to facilitate collaboration, make things easier for everyone to contribute, to state their opinion, to voice their concerns, to contradict, to speak up their mind, because all of that contributes to finding the best possible solution based on the best and the most clear and essential requirements. So the requirements that truly speak to the business need. You still are a communication center. Again, regardless of methodology, business analyst is in the center. It is like a communication satellite. You speak to all the sides. You create this environment that supports communication, written, verbal communication, meetings, asynchronous communication. That doesn't go anywhere and will never go anywhere, because again, communication needs to be facilitated and supported to be efficient. You help the team improve. You work with all the members of the team. You clarify requirements. You find better ways to express requirements and build map diagrams and support user stories if there is something unclear, or it turned out that some of those user stories were ambiguous, or if it turned out that some of the team members misunderstood the user story, that is what was very clear. So maybe you need to improve, maybe you need to help your team member to kind of see things from a different perspective. It's all part of your job. You reflect on feedback, you adapt, and again, there's a lot of emphasis on retrospectives in that agile philosophy and on constant improvement of the team, because you want to build that team and make it more and more efficient. So, and it's also part of your mindset to reflect on what you hear from retrospectives, reflect on the feedback that your customers, stakeholders provide in the demos. You all the time you try to improve based on everyday feedback from your team members to make sure that your part and your contribution becomes better and better. And never stop learning, right? We all should be on side with that. Being a business analyst means learning all the time. Avoid waste. So this one is, and again, whether you think of lean, whether you think of agile, of only focusing on minimum viable product, on reducing waste in a project, or it's all about being more purposeful in what are you delivering and making sure that what are you delivering has the highest value. And that also means that you want to avoid delivering non-value added features and avoiding waste. Thinking like a business analyst, anytime you're asked to create requirements for a business process, for business process automation, for automating specific parts of the process, remember that we need to analyze whether the process needs some improvements. We don't want to automate suboptimal process. We don't want to automate inefficient processes, because then those inefficiencies will be so much harder to change and to remove and to improve on. So again, think about working in agile environment and having user stories in a backlog. It is possible that the whole business process will end up as say 100 user stories distributed between 5 or 6 iterations or sprints. What we don't want to do is to optimize and automate bit by bit without looking at the whole process, because then we may be missing opportunities for improvement. So we still want to analyze the whole process end to end. We still want to look at that process flow, current flow. Does it need to change? What are the essential steps of this process flow? What can be avoided? All of these missteps or steps that grew as fluff because of various political reasons or existing system deficiencies, what can be eliminated, what is redundant, what is unnecessary, remove all that, strip down your process to the most essential pieces, and that what should go into the backlog. So that again speaks back to looking at the whole picture, in this case with a goal of avoiding waste, removing waste, and making the processes as efficient as possible before you actually automate them. All right, so we've just looked at these different principles of agile business analysis, and we talked about what they truly mean. Now, how do you transition to work as an agile business analyst to as business analyst in agile environment? And here is where I want to emphasize, even though there is so much emphasis on methodology, for example, on Scrum methodology, and learning about all of those ceremonies and templates and terminology, it's not everything. Yes, methodology really helps. Methodology helps us to stay organized, to stay on the same page, to collaborate, but that's not all. There's also techniques that you can use, and there is this mindset. So these 3 things are 3 important components of the transition to agile business analysis. And that transition is only possible if you realize one very important point, that even though methodologies may change, but the core, the essence of what business analysts do does not change. So your core responsibilities, your accountability for understanding the business problem, for understanding and capturing requirements does not change regardless of what your organization says their methodology for delivering projects is. So your core business analysis accountabilities include needs assessment, discovery, focusing on business value, analyzing the information that you collect from multiple sources, including doing functional decomposition of complex systems and needs and problems into smaller, more manageable pieces, defining those requirements, facilitation, communication, understanding people. So all of those core accountabilities, they still are there. You are still the person for the job. What may change, what may look different is it could be the structure of your work, could be the timing, for example, working in sprints instead of larger phases, having some daily meetings where you do things in small increments versus maybe working more cyclically weekly. Process may change, terminology may change. You start using different terminology like backlog and user stories and user story maps and personas. Format of your deliverables may change. Perhaps there is no more business requirement document. Instead, there is a set of user stories in the backlog, and instead of the structure of the requirements document with its sections and subsections, you will have themes, epics, and user stories. So this is more about the format and how the information about future state requirements is structured. Granularity of requirements and user stories changes. And this probably is one of the major differences for a business analyst who worked for a long time in waterfall, is that you used to feel that you have to complete all requirements and analyze everything to the very clear point. In agile environment, the philosophy is different. The granularity of the backlog changes. It's much more granular in detail at the top for the next few sprints that are scheduled. The granularity becomes a little bit more high level. User stories become more general and fuzzy as you go down because they will be elaborated on and groomed later. So this part and transition and kind of mental readiness to let yourself go and not feel accountable for having all the backlog ready, that sometimes may come hard to someone who did it for many years. But that's the whole point of being agile, is that you focus on the most important, what is going to be done first, and then you keep doing your analysis iteratively. Okay, so the structure, the format, how we name things, how we call things, and when what needs to be delivered is changing in various agile methodologies. However, your main accountabilities and therefore the mindset that you need to do your job remains the same, the mindset of a business analyst. And one most important aspect of mindset of a business analyst is still there, regardless of methodology, regardless of what we call it, is ability to work with human beings and understanding that whatever happens, even if you work on the most structured project, on the most technical product, you still work with human beings. So you still need to listen, to pay attention what people say and what people not say, right? You still need to use that diplomacy. You have to suggest options and consider points of view and negotiate, and you have to sometimes move in between different opinions and find the common ground and find how to bring people together. You have to be patient. You have to maybe sometimes wait for someone to catch up, slow down, help them to be more comfortable, listen to them, explain to them. That doesn't change. You need to still have sometimes difficult conversations, maybe with a stakeholder who disagrees, or maybe with someone who has different ideas about prioritization, or whatever that may be. So that dissent still needs to be dealt with in the most efficient way, because sometimes stakeholders who disagree may have a very valid point. And if you don't listen to them, you may miss something really important from business analysis perspective. You still have to sometimes stand your ground and not be afraid to disagree. And here's another interesting point. All groups tend to sometimes default to groupthink. And even though Agile teams and Scrum teams were meant to move beyond that, and as a team to find the best solution to things, but in real life, humans are humans. Sometimes groupthink still prevails, depending on political environment, depending on the situation, depending on the timing, on the urgency. And sometimes that Scrum team or Agile team may still all together kind of agree to do one thing that may not be the right thing to do. Business analysts are still those people who most often have the important role to speak up when that groupthink is maybe leading the team astray. They may need to be brave and disagree with the group. Of course, disagree with competence, disagree with logical arguments, with pros and cons, and with related analysis materials. But sometimes that falls to a business analyst to say that the emperor is naked, and let's just admit it, and let's move forward and do what needs to be done. And of course, we still sometimes have conflicts, and we have arguments, and we need to deal with them. And regardless of whether you're waterfall or agile, you have to do that. So business analysts still are that social player on the team who helps everyone communicate, and who needs to find that collaboration mode that allows the whole team to benefit from individual opinions. And finally, just lighten up and humor, and maybe use a joke to break up tense moments. That nobody cancels that, and nobody can say that it's no longer important. All right, so we talked about the mindset and applying that. Now, of course, there are also techniques, and here are some of the techniques that may be used by Agile business analysts. Some of these techniques are closely related to techniques that were used 20 and 30 and 40 years ago by requirements engineers. They may have different labels. They may have evolved to reflect better the ever-changing business environment. So instead of actors, we may use the label personas, and we may expand the definition of personas a little bit broader than actors. We are using decomposition. We use story mapping instead of maybe other functional decomposition methods used before. We will still plan our business requirements, and we will do planning workshops in Agile. Some things change, like backlog refinement. Again, the methods of refining user stories may be very similar. You may still have to ask clarifying questions and use data analysis. The only change is that what needs to be refined and which parts of backlog is okay to leave as is. So these are the various Agile techniques to be used by a business analyst to be able to work in a more Agile environment. And finally, developing of the mindset. So some of the ideas about how to develop your mindset remains the same. You want to focus on what is important to the business, what are those business goals, listen to stakeholders, and what it may mean is not just listening to product owner, but to others as well, practicing your empathy, looking beyond the obvious, trying to not to miss some gaps just because you're so focused on that next sprint that you kind of become blind to other things that may be only coming 2 sprints later. Learning from your mistakes, and again using the benefits of Agile methodology, because they truly help you to learn from your mistakes faster and adapt. And the mistakes are not punished as harshly, so it's a little bit easier to correct your mistakes. standing up for what you believe in, taking pride of your work, speaking up if you feel someone needs to speak up. So all of these help you. All of these ideas help you to continue developing your BA mindset, your Agile BA mindset, which is what you need to truly be an excellent business analyst. So in conclusion, there are lots of resources that I want to share with you. I'll share some of them in the comments. I run the mentorship circle for business analysts every Tuesday, where we learn various techniques and we talk about different difficult business situations that business analysts may find themselves in and how to handle them. You can find information about my courses, watch more videos, and always find me if you would like me to help you with your particular organization and a business analysis on a complex project or requirements clinic, or to help you plan business analysis for digital transformation. Stay tuned for more videos and for more business analysis technique and other videos, and I'll see you next time.